So remember how Mr. Epzion said that Bill Gates was better than a drunken homeless man who beats his wife? Really? Let's see if you think that after you read this article, where Bill Gates is contributing $1.1 million to a project to put bracelets on children that will determine how well they retain the knowledge of their indoctrination. I'm not even going to say education, because we all know school is just a concentration camp for children to indoctrinate them with falsified history, imperialist propaganda, etc. So, yeah, Bill Gates is contributing $1 million to basically help see how well we are controlling the minds of our youth. Now, mind you, $1 million is chump change to guys like Bill Gates. I mean, Glenn Beck is nowhere near as rich as Bill Gates is, and he got a $100 million contract deal for 5 years for his radio program. So, you know, $1 million is nothing to Bill Gates, but it's the principle of the matter. That's what guys like Mr. Rebzion don't understand. You would think as a Christian he would, but whatever happened to the notion that we battle not against flesh and blood, but against the spirit, against principalities? That's what this comes down to. Are you going to side with Jim Prophet, or are you going to side with the moderators? Bill Gates has chosen his side. I think he did that a long time ago, and this proves it. He has sided with the idea that people need to be controlled. They need to be subservient. They need to obey. They need to adhere to the class hierarchy. And while $1 million isn't really all that much money when you consider all the money these guys are tossing around, it's the idea. We should be disturbed by the fact that Bill Gates is willing to contribute a penny to the idea of peering into the minds of young people, or anyone for that matter, to see how well they are retaining the knowledge of their school indoctrination programs. That's not what school is intended for. School is intended to equip children with the knowledge they need to have talents and to use their already pre-existing skills to their utmost ability. People should be educated to be independent, not to be indoctrinated with. And the idea that Bill Gates would even do this is utterly despicable. So for Mr. Rebzion to say that Bill Gates is better than a homeless guy who's an alcoholic and beats his wife is not looking deep enough into the principality of people, of personality, of character, of action, and of consequences. That's my problem with guys like Mr. Rebzion and Christians in general. People say that I do not like Christians and that I'm some kind of Christian phobe. No, it's the principles of which they adhere to. Their principles are contrary to their own Christian Bible, and they do not want to see that. They do not want to see the fact that everything they believe is in complete contradiction to everything scribed in the holy text. Nowhere in the Bible does it ever advocate the rich. It never advocates capital. It never advocates kings and monarchs. It never advocates authority. It rejects it. At every turn, whether Old or New Testament, the Old Testament says that man is wicked and that God will rain down hellfire and frogs and disease and war as vengeance against man's sin. And in the New Testament, it says to reject man's ways. That if you want to enjoy the benefits of heaven and eternal life, then you must reject this world. Not so much whether or not that we should raise up a sword, but that we should learn from Christ, and that we should learn from His ways and reject earthly details. We should reject materialism. We should reject, the church. We should reject everything that is of this world if we want a better life. It's not even so much about them as it is about ourselves and our peace of mind. So the New Testament only complements the Old Testament in that it still says the world is evil, but that you have a way out, that there is another choice for you. But nowhere does it say that you should just permit people to be their sinful ways. And nowhere does it say that the way our moral system is now is righteous. But that's not Neo-Christianity, because like I said, Neo-Christianity is a Luciferian sector. It's the most powerful Luciferian sector, in my opinion. And, people are gonna dislike this video. They're gonna say things to the contrary. But, here it is. A homeless, drunken wife-beater is morally superior to Bill Gates. Because you know what? Alcoholic, wife-beating, homeless guy does not have the power or the influence to actually hurt you nearly to the extent of Bill Gates. Maybe he hurt his wife. Maybe he hurt his children. He's hurting himself, clearly. But that is nowhere near the scale, the magnitude of Bill Gates and his money. That is what the Bible preaches. That is what communism preaches. That is what most decent people throughout history have preached. And nobody wants to see it. So, it is time for you to make that moral assessment. You need to figure out where it is you stand, because this will affect your life. Whether or not you want it to, whether or not you think you just standing back and staying neutral will do anything to help you, this is going to affect you. Bill Gates may have only put $1 million into this, but this means that in some point in our lives, they expect people to wear mechanical objects that determine whether or not we are retaining the indoctrination they have set before us. They are expecting us to be as they have raised us to be. And that is a very frightening thought. That is a very sickening thought. And while we still can think for ourselves, I would highly advise that you give it some serious thought. So, see you later.